When I was 23, my boyfriend and I broke up, so I was in the process of moving away from my hometown to Houston. I just wanted to start over somewhere new. It was about 3 a.m., and I was driving through a small town in Texas on my way to Houston when I decided to stop for gas. It was pretty empty, but the gas station was open. As I was filling up, looking at my phone, I saw a truck pull up to the pump on the other side of me. I wasn't paying any attention until I put my phone in my pocket to put the nozzle back, and I saw a man just staring at me. I smiled at him, turning to put the gas cap back on, when I saw 4 more men, 2 on either side. I thought that was weird, but I just wanted to get in my car and go. As I went to pull the handle on my door, they attacked me. I was screaming and kicking and fighting as hard as I could, but I wasn't strong enough. 2 of them pulled me into the back seat of the truck while 2 of them pushed me in. I ended up draped over their laps. I was still trying to get free, but it was hard to move with their weight holding me down. I started to cry. I have never felt so weak in my life. I started scratching one man thinking, if they kill me, his DNA will be under my nails. They pulled up to a motel and carried me inside of a room. I was screaming again, and the oldest looking one started hitting me, telling me to be quiet. One of them said if I was good, they wouldn't hurt me. They held me down on one of the beds and tied my hands and feet together with a belt and some kind of thin string like a shoelace. I was panicking and still crying, just telling them to let me go. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't tell anyone, that's what I told them. They started talking to each other in another language, one I couldn't recognize. Looking around the room, I saw bags and beer cans, lots of beer cans. It smelled like they had all been staying in this one room with 2 beds for a while. I don't really want to get into what they did to me, but at some point, one of the men said they needed more beer. They decided the smallest one was going to stay in the room with me. So after the other 4 left, it was just me and the man who looked to be around my age. I remember thinking, I could probably beat him up if I get loose. I asked him if I could use the bathroom. And when he untied me, I bolted for the door. I swung the door open and he grabbed my arm. I yelled, "Get off me," and he let go, eyes wide. I ran down the street, no clothes on, and jumped in front of the first car I saw. It was a confused elderly man. He rolled down his window and yelled, "What are you doing?" Like I was ruining his morning or something. I told him I needed help and that I was kidnapped. He drove me to the police station where I was given scrubs and could file a report. They ended up saying I needed to go to the hospital for an examination so they could record any evidence that the man may have left on me. I just wanted to shower and go home, honestly. I just wanted to talk to my mom. They found the men the same day. It turns out they were all brothers. They didn't say what they planned on doing with me after, or why they did it in the first place. They claimed to be all blackout drunk at the time. I ended up moving to the other side of the country, and even though I know they're still in prison, I get nightmares about what happened. I don't use my phone at all in public anymore. My current boyfriend says I'm too paranoid, but I have to be right. I never want to feel that weak again in my life.
I'm a truck driver. This is a story of what happened during the rainy season when it rained endlessly. It rained continuously for weeks, and I went to work grumbling about it. When I was getting on the truck at dawn, I noticed my coworker walking with someone in the rain, putting arms around each other's shoulders. I shouted at him,
"Hey, are you two going on a date in the rain?"
but he ignored me and kept walking. I felt a bit offended, but I didn't think it was a big deal and ignored it. A few days later, while I was driving my truck again on a rainy day at dawn, the boss called me and told me that a colleague had suddenly disappeared. His truck was parked all by itself on the road with the door open. The boss got angry at me and shouted, "What the hell is going on these days?" A few days later, when the rain stopped, we heard news that 2 truck drivers from our company were missing. Their trucks were still parked where they have been, with the door open, without even a trace. I tried to contact their family, but they said they have been out of contact as well. I reported it to the police, but there was no progress. After a while, it rained again. Early that morning, I was getting on the truck when I saw a man standing in front of me. He seemed to be the one who put his arm around my coworker's shoulder. He was slowly walking towards me in the rain without an umbrella. I shouted at him.
Michael is missing. Do you know where he is?
Then all of a sudden, he walked towards me and shouted.
Nice to meet you.
He raised his hand as if to put his arm around my shoulder. I noticed that he had something in his hand, a very long needle. I was so surprised that I kicked him and jumped right back on the truck. As I frantically sped up, I felt a sting on my neck. When I looked at it, blood was flowing as if it had been pricked by a needle. I called the police, and soon they found him hiding under a truck parked in front of our company and arrested him. During the interrogation, he confessed that he was the culprit of the missing truck drivers. When the police asked where they are, he said they are in his basement. The police asked him why he abducted them, and he replied,
Well, when it rains, I get a little weird. I usually could endure it, but when it rains this long, I can't stand it. It was when I was 10. It was also a rainy day like this. I was on the car with my dad. There was a big truck in front of us, full of steel rebars. Then suddenly, one of the rebars fell off, and it went through our car and through my dad's body. I saw it with my own eyes. After that, on rainy days, that scene comes to mind. When I hear the rain, I look for a truck.
and he hollered, slamming the desk.
Let's go to the basement of my house. I'll show you where it is at.
And he screamed like crazy. When the police arrived at the basement of his house, there was a very large steel rebar on the wall, which was embedded.